Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, October 31st. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will still be moving around. That's because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, ticker symbol SOFI. And this one had quite the eventful day. Nice gap up, made a move all the way right there. And then true story, there were some poor souls that were buying right there. Hopefully those people had in stop losses because after that, it really dumped downwards. But now we have an interesting situation because, yeah, big dump downwards, but you now have the price having leveled off down around this trend line here. So I want to get that trend line to play because for some people, they could find that interesting moving forward. So I'll just address those people. What people might find that interesting? Well, the people that like to play bounces. And while there are no guarantees, is it plausible that if the price comes back down to that level, it could bounce like it's done, several times before? Yeah, that's absolutely a plausible outcome. Not a guaranteed outcome, but there's some rationale behind it. So if you like to play more so bounces, then yeah, that's an interesting level right there. But the other thing that makes this interesting is this has now started to show some signs of strength. It has started to bounce back upwards. Now, of course, there's more work that needs to be done. But my point here is you can at least throw out the question of, okay, is this the start of something bigger? Is this bounce right here, just the start of a much bigger bounce? Now, again, to be fair, maybe it's not. Maybe this thing just rolls right back over. That's completely possible, but that is a two-sided coin because, well, maybe it is the start of something bigger, and this thing's just getting started and is going to go on a much bigger bounce. But the point here being a relatively popular stock, popular price range, a whole lot of volume today. So if you like these sorts of circumstances, keep an eye on it for Tuesday. Next one here, VYNE. Nice little pattern here that has taken shape, and the pattern revolves around more so the story, and it'll make more sense. And the story is like the one we just looked at, SOFI. This one had a nice gap up right there, and then the price dropped and dropped and dropped. But here's the thing is this one actually finally started to go sideways. And it went sideways at a good spot, still up above the gap, still up above the purple line there, the 50-period moving average. Now, let me be very clear, and I wish I could say trading was this easy. Just because there is a pullback, just because the price has started to go sideways, does not mean for sure guaranteed the bottom is in and that for sure guaranteed the price is going to turn itself around. But it goes back to the whole idea of, is that at least more plausible at this point? Absolutely. If the price was still just dropping straight down and I'm sitting there saying, oh, it might be getting ready to turn around, you'd be completely justified to say, what are you talking about? Based on what? It's literally still dropping. But that's not the case here. It has started to go sideways. So we'll see if that is a leading indicator of a movement to come back upwards. As far as just technical levels, key level from a support standpoint, I'd keep an eye on that purple line right there again, 50-period moving average. And then from a resistance level, in the event the price does start to turn itself around, keep a close eye on that pink line there, 200-period moving average. Price did temporarily get above it there, but you can see ultimately price didn't hold above it and back down it went. But yeah, definitely a very interesting dynamic here. Big move up, nasty pullback, but now you got the sideways action. So is this finally over? Is it getting ready to turn around? We'll see what happens. Next one, TSLA Tesla. Been tracking this one very closely, and this has just been very, very rough. Really rough today, not necessarily because of the red day, but because, and this will mean a little bit more to those that have watched past videos, but been talking about this support zone. So two levels of support, which had created this little zone, and I mean, the zone just got absolutely smashed in that 130-minute session right there. And after a smash, down the price went. So yeah, very, very rough day, technically speaking, when levels of support, and not only levels of support, but support zones are getting smashed. That just shows that there's a lot of downward strength out there. But the first key update comes about based on a foundation rule in charting, which states when levels of support are broken and closed above, they tend to act as resistance. So if the price does try to bounce back upwards, key level to keep a close eye on, 202.50, if there is any sort of attempt to move back upwards. In terms of levels of support, nothing complicated here at all. Literally just a question of where did the bleeding finally stop today? And that was down there at 194.70. So 194.70, newest level of support. And it has been a very, very long time since the price has been down at this area of the chart. I'm curious now. Let's find that blue. There we go. Last time the price was down here was back here in June. And that's, like I said, very long time ago. So we're talking about multiple months since the price has been down around this area of the chart. But yeah, that just really illustrates how rough things have been. But who knows? We'll see if the price can get some sort of bounce over the next couple days. Next one, RVPH, and I like this one just from a pattern standpoint, and I'm not trying to come across and impress you like this is some sort of great discovery on my part. I assure you a lot of people have drawn a pattern very similar to this, maybe not using these exact levels, but like I said, general, overall, same key levels, and I bring all that up because when a lot of people are watching the same pattern and wondering this, and wondering the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. It can produce some very dynamic movement. So let me make this pattern a little bit easier to see by changing it to one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big explosive move right there. If you golfers out there trying to make it more visual, we'll put the golf hole down here. This would be known as a bull pennant pattern. So if you like bull pennant patterns, you like stocks down below $10, definitely keep an eye on RVPH. Next one, AMC. Very, very impressive day. I mean, just to build a little context there, last 30 minutes on Friday were that right there. Not looking so good, looking like, and I know I talked about this on Friday's video, okay, this level here is going to get tested, bottom of the channel. Is it going to hold? What's going to happen? And no, that didn't happen. Bit of a gap up, opening 30 minutes, just a huge green candle, minor pullback, and then up it's gone. So very, very impressive day. Like I said, especially when you factor in the context of how things were looking after Friday. In terms of areas of resistance from the overall perspective, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watch past videos, but nothing has really changed. Nothing has changed relative to what? Well, relative to this overall channel. So yes, the price is still within the channel. So all my talk about it looking really good was just more from a micro standpoint of, being able to bounce back upwards. But from more of a macro standpoint, yes, again, like I said, it is still stuck between the channel, but the price is now much closer to getting, up to the top part of this channel here around that $10.27 mark. So that's going to be the main area of resistance moving forward for that reason of just being the top part of that key pattern. If the price does try to pull back, ideally speaking, you want to see the price hold above that purple line there, the pink line there, the 200 period moving average. But from, again, the broad sense, it's all about this support zone down there. But, this level is essentially irrelevant right now given how far the price moved up above it. But overall today, very, very solid. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering here later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box that you can click to get signed up. Or if you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. Next one here, PLTR, and overall very rough day, rough past several days. As you can see, the downtrend remains intact. But I did want to get a key level here that I'm curious about. Maybe you disagree with this. Maybe you're thinking, no, Clay, I don't find any interest in that. I'm completely fine. I applaud you for thinking for yourself and not just blindly following. But for me, this trend line here, I think could play a role in some things moving forward. So let me get that adjust a little bit, change that to green as support. So you can see from an overarching standpoint, that's where that line's coming from. And I'll zoom in here now so you can see it a little bit better. But my question really, and what I find interesting is, okay, last 30 minutes looking pretty rough. Does this thing continue to come down? And if it gets down to that level, then yeah, you get to throw out a very interesting question. Is this going to be some sort of bounce location? Is the price going to come down there and bounce back upwards? As I've said, and we'll probably say a couple of dozen more times, there are no guarantees. But is it plausible that the price could bounce from that level, which it's now bounced from a few times before? That is certainly a plausible scenario. So if you like these sorts of dynamics, then definitely keep an eye on it. Maybe you think that trend line there is irrelevant. And like I said, I completely respect that thought too. Next one, AMZN, and nice move today. And first update that needs to come about just based on a foundation rule and charting when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So the newest area of support moving forward was that former area of resistance from this morning. Right there now, we'll call it $130. You can see a classic example here. Price broke above it, pull back. Beautiful example right there of a resistance, then behaving as support. So came down to that previous resistance, found support, and then back up it went. So keep an eye on 130 as that main level of support. In terms of areas of resistance, got to zoom things down here a little bit, which is a good problem to have when you have to go back this far in the chart's history. So I realize it's a little bit harder to see here. But next key battleground as far as resistances are concerned, right up there at 133.35. Going back here in the history of the chart, you can see this area has provided some stumbling blocks a couple of times. Not saying that it will once again provide a stumbling block. I'm just saying that history here suggests that the price is really going to bring it to A game if the price can get up there and push up through it. But if the price can accomplish that, that would certainly be a step in the right direction. Next one here, ticker symbol ICU, and this will mean a bit more to those of you that watched the previous videos, but if you did, hopefully remember me talking about that resistance trend line right there, and you can see that earlier on in the day that played a vital role. Now, to be fair, the price was actually able to strong enough to push up through. In fact, let me just zoom up so you can see where that line's coming from. But as I zoom in, you can see right there that the price was actually strong enough to push above it a few times today. But in terms of maintaining the momentum and building momentum, that just never could quite happen. So there's always a thing of, first off, can the price break above a certain level? But then there's that secondary question of, can the price maintain the level? And the secondary part is just where the price could not maintain it. You can see just struggled to maintain any sort of momentum. But nonetheless, good to see that the price did have enough strength to at least push through it. So you got to think that level's probably weakened up a little bit, but still there's more work to be done. So on that angle of things, nothing has changed. Still continue to keep an eye on that resistance trend line. As far as supports are concerned, I think the easiest way to look at this one is just watch our good friend there, the 50-period moving average. I suppose if you wanted to, you could draw in a little trend line right there. But like I said, whether you want to use that or that, they're pretty close to one another. So that's kind of just a personal, decision right there. But key point, got to continue to watch that level, and you got to think that the more times the price kind of gets rejected, the more people are watching it, and you introduce that whole idea of self-fulfilling prophecies. So we'll see what happens as the week continues to play out. Next one here, ticker symbol F for Ford. Talked about this one on Friday and how it had gotten beat down, and same general idea here, except this one's a little more different because on Friday, this thing was still basically just bleeding, and it did bleed some more. And we've already talked about this topic, so I won't go, repeat myself completely, but we now have some sideways movement. So does this mean it's a bottom? You now know, no, of course not. But does it become more plausible? Absolutely. Now, the one difference here is that Ford, pretty popular stock, obviously a very well-known company. And when very well-known companies, relatively popular stocks, are getting absolutely beat down, as it was, basically from here down to here, and then starts to go sideways, it becomes, at least in my opinion, a very intriguing setup. Because is this finally some sort of bottom? Are the price, is the bulls really finally getting ready to kind of try to turn things around a little bit? And I'm not saying that it's going to completely reverse around, but from a trading standpoint, I mean, could it produce a worthwhile bounce where you could scalp out some profits? Yeah, very possibly. But again, that's why risk management matters, because maybe the price just continues on down, but that is a two-sided coin, because maybe the sideways movement is meaning a movement is coming back upwards. But I mean, all the ingredients are there. Very popular stock, absolutely demolished, finally going sideways. So is this some sort of bottom? Keep an eye on it if you like these set of circumstances. Next one here, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ. So if you believe the NASDAQ market is going to rise as a whole, this one will also rise. And this will mean a bit more to those of you that watched last week's video. But if you did, hopefully remember me talking about that resistance trend line right there, because you can see here, the price has done two things. First off, yes, it is up above that red line, but the second thing is it's also now above that purple line right there. So earlier on in the day, you can see, and this played out exactly what I talked about last week, is just because that level was broken, you needed to still be skeptical, because not that far above was the purple line there, 50-period moving average. So price broke above it right there and then just got smacked right back down right there. Struggled, and then this afternoon, like I said, has broke above the red line and now the purple line, which brings up a very, exciting question is, okay, is this break, is this finally the start of something way bigger? As I've said, and will repeat myself one final time, no guarantee. So maybe it's not. Maybe this thing drops right back down. So that's why risk management matters. But I mean, that is a two-sided coin. Maybe it is. Maybe this breakout of these levels is getting ready to really send this thing on a good run for the remainder of the week. I find these sorts of circumstances very, very interesting. Key levels all broken in the same day. A very popular ETF. So is this a start of something bigger? Worth at least keeping an eye on, in my opinion. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. It'll be later this week, Thursday, November 2nd at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please do two things for me. Hit the like button and leave a comment down below. Say hi. Give me your watch list for tomorrow. Tell me what you traded today. But those two things help out the channel. They help out these videos, and I thank you in advance. So go get signed up for that free class. Hit that like button, leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching.